Animal noise nuisance, and in particular barking dogs, are the single largest cause of noise nuisance complaints for most cities, municipalities and counties. We love our pets, but when a dog or other animal is creating a persistent noise nuisance, it's a very real harm and it can affect the well-being of your neighbours and even their health. So, how do noise regulators currently handle animal noise nuisance? Well, there are three approaches generally applied. The first is to use a communications-based approach and to encourage your residents to try and solve things by themselves. This is a sound approach. Provide them and the animal owner with information about how to resolve a complaint and how to calm a barking dog, and encourage them to go away and resolve that by themselves, maybe incorporating mediation or other processes, in an effort to try and discourage the need to have to investigate and intervene in cases. That works in many cases, and there are good programs available to do that. But for the most persistent cases, and particularly where you have an animal owner that is resistant to there being a problem, it can only go so far. The second approach is to play lie detector, to listen to the complainant, to listen to the animal owner, to request diaries and to validate, to talk maybe to other neighbours in the area, and in so doing, try and determine what's the truth. But that's inherently risky, and we can never be sure which person is telling the truth, which one is the most convincing and compelling, who's afraid maybe of the owner or the complainant, and who is friends in that group of people that you're dealing with. So trying to find your way through that makes it difficult to enforce and difficult to be sure of what's happening. The third approach is to go through a more thorough monitoring process, whether with your own people carrying out standoffs to observe and to listen whether there is a nuisance, or to encourage the recording of data and then the analysis of data. The reality is, for prolonged noise nuisance, in the majority of cases, it's extremely hard to get enough data to be able to draw a conclusion. Are you going to rely on 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 24 hours? Who's got 24 hours to listen to audio recordings at a particular location? It's just not practical. So there really is no effective way at present to resolve animal noise nuisance. Well, that's where I'd like to introduce you to NoiseNet Smart Noise Monitoring. We have developed an automated noise monitoring technology that can be easily deployed by complainants and or councils to gather the evidence necessary to understand what's going on. It's a simple device that is mounted generally at the location where the complaint is causing a problem, at the complainant's house or sometimes at a third-party property. It's cable tied to a post, a pole, a tree, a fence, a balcony railing, and plugged into standard power. The device then transmits data on a near continuous basis to our servers, where we analyse the data to determine the severity of the animal noise nuisance. In its best practice application, smart noise monitoring is used in two different phases of the investigation process. The first, once you have a case that warrants investigation, and before you start those investigations, we encourage you to install the smart noise monitor for a period of time. Because we're providing you with daily reports, that device only needs to be in the field until you have the answer for your question. If on the first day of data you're seeing barking at a particular time of day, and you see that repeated on a second or a third day, you have the evidence that you need to take action, to communicate with the animal owner with confidence that there is a noise nuisance. If you're not seeing anything after 3 or 4 days, maybe you want to leave it a bit longer, out to 5 days or even a week. If there's nothing within a week, that's 7 times 24 hours. You've got hundreds of hours of data now to be able to go to the complainant and say, there's no nuisance. I'm sorry, we're seeing a bit of barking, but it's not a legitimate complaint. And you can close the case with confidence. The second phase is where you have found a nuisance, you've gone to the animal owner, and you've made it clear that they need to solve the problem. You've given them time, 2 weeks, a month, whatever your procedures require, and at that time you're getting further complaints that the problem is still not resolved or has recurred or whatever. At that point, you have a more serious case on your hands, you're looking like you're going to need to enforce. Again, you put the noise monitor back into the field. This time you might want to leave it a little bit longer to gather just that little bit more robust data. And at the end of that time, NoiseNet will prepare for you what we call our legal quality report. This report steps through our processes, how we analyse the data, where the noise monitor was placed and for how long, the results and conclusions in terms of how great the nuisance is and how that matches with the relevant regulations that you're working with. This report is designed to be tabled in court as evidence, and NoiseNet will happily back that up in an expert witness basis if it comes to that. But our experience has been that once the evidence is presented, the animal owner and the complainant have nowhere to go, and they would be crazy to argue. So the majority of cases that were headed towards court were diverted away from court, saving the councils thousands and thousands of dollars in court cases and wasted time and effort and stress. So NoiseNet is about using the available technology more efficiently to make your life easier. Not only do we speed up the process by giving you reliable results within a very short period of time, we also keep the costs down. If our monitoring is used in an extensive basis, it costs as little as $20 to $25 a day to gather data. That's less than $1 per hour for gathered data. And if you compare that with what it costs you now to get an hour of noise monitoring by bark counting, it's an absolute fraction of the cost you spend now. And we're gathering data all night. No risks, no hazards, no nuisance, no overtime associated with putting your people into the field at night. So NoiseNet is fast, it is cheap, it is robust, it is court proven. We think we can help you manage your noise nuisance more efficiently. So we would love to talk to you about trialing our service. That is definitely. NoiseNet is incredibly simple to implement. Almost every customer that is working with us today started with a trial, and these cost between $600 and $2,000 and can be commenced within a week. Over 80% of our customers who have undertaken a trial have gone on to use the service on a long-term basis. And that, for us, is proof that our system works. Since we've upgraded the daily dashboard reports, everyone using that service has increased the usage of their service. So if you want to find a better way, if you want to relieve your staff of the nuisance, of the time waste, of the stress and the agitation of having to play lie detector or going out into the field to try and monitor barking dog complaints, come talk to us. We'd love to get a trial underway, and we'd love to help you contribute to making your communities happier, more tranquil, and safer.